everyone. This is Kavita Kukunur, homeopath from USA. Welcome to KHA Homeopathy Study Group Pro Bono webinar. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So nice to see many of you from different countries and different time zones. Before we start our webinar, we always thank Universe for giving us this great opportunity. Dr. Sweta Singh, our KHA Chief Administrator, will start the session.
Hello everyone, myself Dr. Sweta Singh, KHA Chief Administrator. I would like to take the opportunity to introduce KHA Homeopathy Group to all of you. KHA Homeopathy Study Group Pro Bono was organized and founded by homeopath and humanitarian Kavita Kukunur, President and CEO of Kavita Holistic Approach, KHA. This group is intended to be an offering from Kavita to the homeopaths around the globe, sharing goodwill and solid clinical work within the classical model are foundational principles of KHA. KHA mission and vision are very unique to inspire young homeopaths, mentor, provide excellency for educational purposes, using holistic approaches via webinars, which are based on principles of classical homeopathy and provide professional continuing educational homeopathy credits for practitioners. We provide merit certificates for spreading the light of homeopathy around the globe. Dr. Kavita is a member of Kevin Friendly Foundation, a non-profit organization that helps to serve poor people in greater needs in India. She is nationally board certified by Council for Homeopathic Certification, CHC, also the associate editor of the Homeopathic Heritage and Achina CPD provider. She is the recipient of Martha Ullman Community Service Award by National Center for Homeopathy and Best Entrepreneur Award from Dr. N. Lingaraju, Principal of JSPS Homeopathic Medical College, Hyderabad, India. TANA, Telugu Association of North America, a prestigious organization, honored and awarded her for selfless homeopathic and humanitarian services at Ladies' Night Out on October 2022, Michigan. Also, Dr. Kavita received the prestigious Legendary Homeopath Award with joint hands of Honorable Health Minister Dr. Dan Singh Rawat, Senior MLA Mr. Harbhajan Singh Cheema, Ex-Director Homeopathy, Government of Uttarakhand and Chairman of HomeoCure and Research Institute during National Homeopathic Seminar, Homeopathy, the Future Medicine at Kashipur on 21st August 2022. Our executives, Dr. Deepak Sharma, Dr. Rajneesh Kumar Sharma, KHA advisor, and myself, KHA team were also recognized and presented with Legendary Homeopath Award at the ceremony. We are extremely happy and proud that we celebrated 11 years of our book, Beyond the Limits, a challenge to prove oneself. And in January 2022, we launched her ebook, A Dose of Spirituality with Kavita, in presence of honorable guest of speakers, American Institute of Homeopathy, AIH President, Dr. Alex Becker, and Council for Homeopathy, CHC President, Dr. Sheetal Tiwari at our KHA webinar. At KHA's second annual celebration, our honorable guest of speaker, Dr. Jawahar Shah, Chairman of Enlightenment Education, launched audiobook and hard copy of her second write-up, A Dose of Spirituality with Kavita. We are delighted that it has been more than 1 year now, and we have donated over $1,400 to 10 to 15 charities. To name a few are Kevin Friendly Foundation, CHC, DHMA, GSPS College, VT Seva, NCH, etc. Interested one can reach us for details at kastudygroup@gmail.com. As of now, we have over 300 plus recordings on professional webinars related to homeopathy, health-related topics, and inspirational talks available on our channel, Kavita Kukunur. This webinar is moderated by Ka family, myself, and Dr. Pooja Naik, Ka volunteer. It is being recorded as we speak, and we will take the question at the end of the webinar. We will post jot form in Zoom webinar chat at the end of the webinar. Please fill the form to receive your certificate. Kindly mute yourself and turn your video off for better connections. Over to you, Dr. Kavita.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sweta. She manages our activities with cute smile. And Dr. Sweta, is Dr. Pooja there?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to request Dr. Pooja to please read Code of Ethics.
Hello everyone, good evening. So today I'm very pleased to inform you everyone for KHA ethics and benefits towards you all. So KHA homeopathy study group is just like a very good platform for everything. So now ethics and benefits. To be a KHA speaker needs at least 1 to 2 months active volunteering. And again is only KHA speakers themes are promoted in newsletters and webinars. KHA providers volunteering for 2 to 12 months respects and inspiring the volunteers to grow. Active volunteers will be promoted through our website, social media, and added to WhatsApp group. Now, articles of the volunteers will be posted on KHA website and the newsletters and will be sent for the publications journals too. Again, the volunteers and the speakers are eligible for the prestigious KHA annual awards. And volunteers are eligible for KHA inspirational talks as well. Volunteers are eligible for the case discussion, and KHA promotes homeopathy organization as well as their mega events. KHA promotes great works of speakers through their books reviews. Honorable guests may propose their futures, courses, or events after the webinars. KHA maintains a healthy and happy environment, so keep only like-minded folks. And KHA requests everyone to maintain the confidential of the groups. So we are highly appreciated that we are volunteering this group, and we are blessed to attach with this group because it's a very good platform for everyone. Thank you, Kavit.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pooja. She's our enthusiastic volunteer. And I thank Ka Homeopathy Study Group entire team for the continuous selfless support with which we are able to make our pro bono activities and webinars so beautiful. These webinars are for educational purposes only and should not misuse any of the course content without speaker's permission. Always seek an expert homeopath for treatment. Happy Women's Day month to all of you. And quick announcement. The Joint American Homeopathic Conference, JHC, is on March 24th to 26th this year. JHC is a wonderful platform for connecting, learning, and growing with the world-renowned homeopaths who share their knowledge and wisdom. I was so fortunate to get opportunity as a speaker along with our today's speaker, Dr. Lauri Grossman, who speaks about pregnancy and childbirth. And as I'm one among the honorable speakers doing on-demand presentation on topic homeopathic healing with realm of imponderables. JHC 2023 conference registration is available as virtual and also in person. Do not miss this great opportunity. See you there. And for more info, visit jhc.info. And we have a special coupon for car participants. The code is NCH75797. This is worth $20 of a 3-day in-person or 3-day virtual registration. And I will ask our first speaker to say a few words about KHA. Would you like to say it now, Dr. Lauri, or?
Sure, I'd be happy. First of all, I must thank you, Dr. Kavitha, and your entire team. Dr. Shweta, all of you have been so supportive of the National Center for Homeopathy and for sharing the information that we are trying to share around the world. So my greatest thanks to everyone, to you and your entire team. I want to just highlight a bit about the JHC conference this year because it's different and maybe a little bit more special this year for a few reasons. Number one, it's a virtual and an in-person event. When the National Center for Homeopathy took a survey of if people preferred virtual conferences or in person, it was our responses were exactly 50-50. 50% of people said we wanted virtual because that way we don't have to worry about the status of COVID and travel. We don't have to spend the extra money on a hotel. We don't have to spend the extra money on travel for people living worldwide. And they were real enthusiastic about what virtual offered them. Moms and family members didn't have to worry so much about finding childcare while they were away at a conference. So we were delighted by those responses, but exactly 50% said, I want to meet in person. It means so much to me to sit with my homeopathic colleagues, to be able to have lunch with them, to be able to have dinner with them, to be able to walk up to a speaker in the conference halls and just have a small chat with them, maybe to share some questions about their practice, maybe to share some questions about personal things that were coming up, but really to connect as a community. And as I said, it was exactly 50-50. So we decided that despite the fact that it cost us far more to do both at the same time, we were really going to commit to both halves of the homeopathic community and have a virtual event that was also in person. I just want to give a mention to the very long list of speakers. The fact that we have such enthusiasm for this year's conference. We have more speakers speaking than ever before. I'm going to start reading the list. I might not get through the whole list because then we won't have time to teach today, but Sujata Owens, who many in the Indian community know and adore, she's a wonderful speaker. Dr. Ronald Whitmont, Camilla Scher is coming from Africa. Agni Costadinas from Los Angeles, Linda Johnston and Franz Vermeulen. I think they've spoken with this community before. Tim Shannon, Lauren Fox, Angela Lemke is providing a presentation on some of her unusual cases and unusual presentations. Amanda Rideout, Daxa Vaishnav, Bill Shevins. Dr. Bill Shevins is going to do a wonderful update on the legal status of homeopathic medicines in the United States and the ways people can be most helpful in keeping homeopathy access alive around the entire world. Desiree Brazelton, Lauren Hubele, Kavitha Shandek, Javahar Shah, Denise Strages, Lisa Amarine, Luke Norland from Great Britain, Amy Rothenberg, a very popular speaker, Wanda Smith-Schick, who's speaking to us about much of her new work in her clinic, Paula Brown. So that's just some of the speakers. That's not even the whole lineup. So I just want everyone to know that we'll be addressing many topics. We'll be providing a lot of support for practitioners and also for community members that just want to learn more about homeopathy. We'll be going into detail about our Homeopathy for Moms program. We have a new program that's about to launch for children that want to learn more about homeopathy. So without taking up too much more time, that's a little introduction to JAHC. In person, it will be in San Antonio, Texas, which is a wonderful venue because the hotels in Texas are not as expensive as the ones on the East and the West Coast. So I'd love to see as many of you in person, and certainly everyone who's going to connect virtually. Please go to jahc.info. You can also link to it from the National Center for Homeopathy website. I welcome you all. It's a pleasure to work with you. And that's a bit of my introduction for the conference. Thank you, Kavita.
Thank you, Dr. Lauri. I know over 40 speakers are there and we do not have time to list everyone, but thank you so much for this information. And today, March 5th, 2023, we have two honorable speakers, as we have seen, like our first honorable speaker, Dr. Lauri Grossman, who speaks about issues of pregnancy and little bit about postpartum period. And our second speaker, Dr. Renuka Khatta, she shares her knowledge about homeopathic prescription. And we know we have very good homeopathic remedies for pregnancy and postpartum. With simple remedy, arnica, semicifuga, sepia, sabina, phosphorus, and many more. Healing happens when we apply remedies based upon the homeopathic principle. And again, we all know how important is first and second prescription, 12 observations and more. And in the past, we did webinar with Dr. Subhash Singh, NIH Director on correct prescription. So we have a lot today to discuss, and this session would be like 2 hours. So so stay tuned until the end of the webinar. So let us first welcome Dr. Lauri Grossman. She's from New York. She's an experienced and renowned licensed chiropractor and a homeopath. She serves as president on the board of directors for National Center for Homeopathy, NCH. She has a private practice in New York City and has taught numerous hospitals and colleges in the New York, including Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center Hospital, and for special surgeries, and Lenox Hill Hospital and NYU. Lauri is a frequent presenter at Gilda Club, where she works with people living with cancer to overcome the side effects of cancer treatments with homeopathy. Some of her most rewarding work has been in other countries, with Homeopaths Without Borders in Trinidad and Haiti, and with medical directors who are doctors who are working to establish homeopathy in Afghanistan. A graduate of Cornell University and Hahnemann College of Homeopathy. She also serves as chair of the Department of International Affairs at American Medical College of Homeopathy and is a frequent lecturer there. She developed the curriculum in homeopathy for the graduate nursing program at New York University and the College of New Rochelle. And there is a lot to say about her. And for more information, visit her website, her first name and last name, drlaurigrossman.com. And Dr. Lauri has also been there in our platform in the past in January 2021. So let us welcome our first honorable speaker, Dr. Lauri Grossman, to our webinar.
Thank you very much, Kavita. Let me see if I share my screen. There we go. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So thank you very much, Dr. Kavita. That's such a warm and just a wonderful welcome. I really enjoy speaking to your community. You have a gathering of dedicated, experienced homeopaths, and I truly appreciate it. Hold on a second. I'm going to try to juggle some of these messages that are coming across as you see on my screen. So today I'm going to speak about homeopathy for a healthy pregnancy. There's a remedy for that. It's a presentation that I put together just for this study group. And I know in the initial announcements, we mentioned both a healthy pregnancy and postpartum period. I'm going to mention both those parts, but I'm going to focus more on the pregnancy because I wanted to make this presentation a little special in giving you some backup remedies, which might not be in the first remedies that you think of for the pregnancy period. But I want people who are new to homeopathy, home prescribers, young pregnant women listening to this webinar, I want you to be aware that although there's certain handful of remedies that seem to be our most common remedies for certain conditions, I want you to be aware that there may be other remedies. And if you don't get the desired results with your first prescription, a second prescription is oftentimes called for, where you'll see improved results and you'll learn more about homeopathy in the process. So you'll see I'm going to focus more on complaints of pregnancy, and I'm going to give this group today a little more information on backup remedies. Oops, and why is my presentation not okay? So we already talked about the JAHC conference that's coming up. I'll have a little bit more on complaints of the postpartum period in my presentation. That's going to be at JAHC, but I'm going to give you a more detailed dive into the homeopathic medicines for complaints of pregnancy. This talk, just so that you're aware of it, is the first talk. The first talk of many that's part of the 2023 webinar series for National Center for Homeopathy members. As you can see, the focus is on homeopathy. It's all in the details, and I'll be exploring some of the details of the remedies I go into, so you'll understand that. Just be aware that the upcoming webinars include in May, remedies, homeopathic medicines for digestive issues. Then we get into homeopathy for emergencies, a lot related to summer travel in August, top remedies for children in October, and caring for the caregiver, which is one of my favorite topics, in November. Just be aware that the Homeopathy Academy for Moms webinar recordings and handouts are available through the National Center for Homeopathy membership resources portal. So anyone who's a member gets access to these recordings. Okay, there's a disclaimer here. I just want everyone to realize that the information that I'm offering here is not necessarily the information of the National Center for Homeopathy. It is meant for educational purposes only. You should seek the help of a certified professional homeopath to treat homeopathic care that is beyond the safe purview of prescribing at home. Okay, you've already gotten enough of an introduction about me. Thank you, Dr. Kavitha. You were very generous. We don't have to go into that. So just bear with me. I'm going to be admitting people who enter the waiting room as I speak. So, so you're having a baby. It's a very exciting time as you prepare for the arrival of your newborn. Everyone should know, even if you have access to homeopathy, even if you have access to a fabulous homeopath, that now more than ever, it's really important to take care of yourself. You want to eat wholesome foods, drink plenty of fresh water, exercise regularly in whichever way exercise feels best for you, get plenty of sleep, see your doctor or midwife for checkups, because even with the most valuable medical and homeopathic care, all these items, lifestyle issues are very important to address while you're pregnant. And I want you to know that. So is there a way to find relief, though, when issues come up? And of course, there are many homeopathic medicines that can help with that, and we'll get into them. Just as a reminder, plenty of rest is important, rewarding activity, eating whole foods, fresh water. Remember, you're doing this not only for yourself, but also for your new baby. I'm sure this is nothing new to anybody on this call, but you want to avoid too many sweets, too much caffeine, and alcohol should be avoided altogether. If you do know of any pregnant woman who does have an issue with alcohol or problem with alcohol, this is the best time for you to help them and help them find the help that they need in order to stay away from alcohol during the pregnancy. This is probably my biggest issue that I like to raise when I teach anything related to pregnancy, is that you need a good team. So this is the time to find a good obstetrician or nurse midwife that you trust, and to stick to the regular checkups. That's essential. And if you're uncomfortable with your obstetrician or nurse midwife, then speak to someone else and find someone who you're happy to work with, because it's important that you stay on your schedule of checkups. Also, this is an important time to strengthen the relationships in your life, be that with your family members, your spouse, your partner. If you need, then please consult with a social worker, a therapist, or a coach. Remember that places of worship and community centers oftentimes offer counseling or emotional support. And nowadays, with the internet being what it is, especially after COVID, when so many services were put online, there are many online and low-cost services that are available. So as I said, the pregnancy period is an ideal time and a critical time to create and strengthen partnerships for support. I know that when I was pregnant, one of the best places I got support from was from pregnancy and birthing groups and mother-baby groups. I'm still good for my son's 42 years old, my second son's 40 years old, and I'm still very good friends with many of the women who are in the birthing groups with me and the mother-baby groups. It's very important to get support, to be able to feel comfortable speaking to other people. And for me, the company, the companionship I got during, especially in the postpartum period, was critical for me. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? Today, we're going to talk about the most common complaints of pregnancy, and I'm going to focus mostly on morning sickness, heartburn and indigestion, hemorrhoids and varicose veins, and fluid retention and swollen ankles. So those are the issues we're going to really focus on. Okay, for all those who are new to homeopathy, when I say that homeopathy is all in the details, it means that you don't just look up a homeopathic medicine for morning sickness or a homeopathic medicine for hemorrhoids. Before you look for the medicine, you want to ask the following questions. What's happening overall? In other words, is the woman, she might have hemorrhoids, but is it the fact that she's so hot and she's complaining of the heat far more than the hemorrhoids? How is she doing physically, mentally, emotionally? Are there any issues in any of these realms that are really standing out that either the young woman is speaking about or that you're noticing? Take down the details, look, listen, ask. Remember, sometimes you don't have to ask. If you go in, if you're speaking to, say, your sister, and you go into her bedroom and you see 4 empty glasses, you know she's probably been thirsty. And you might say, are you thirsty for warm drinks or cold drinks? Or do the drinks make you feel much better? That's very important. Whenever I have a patient that calls me, I even take note of how they set up the appointment. Some people will say to me, it's very important for me to be seen this week. That tells me a lot about this person's emotional state. They're eager, they're swift acting. If someone says to me, you know, I have a problem, but I know you're very busy. Do I have to wait a month or 2 for your appointment? That shows me the sign of a much more sweet, more submissive person. And that will help me select the remedy. So take in all, this is the time for you to act as our real Sherlock Holmes, to take in all of the details that you notice and to listen carefully. Write it down, take notes. Then, only then, after you've done all that, then you search for the best homeopathic medicine. After the person's taken 1 or 2 doses of their medicine, you want to know what their response is and reevaluate. Is it the correct medicine? Have they benefited? Have they benefited slightly, but the main problem is still there? So you want to then go back to your notes, say to the person, well, this is what I thought you said, or this is what I focused on. Did I hear you correctly? Tell me where I'm wrong. And it's a conversation. Homeopathy becomes a conversation between the doctor or the prescriber asking the right questions and the person who's being treated being open, feeling comfortable and respected. And then, of course, be sure to contact a professional homeopath if you need help, if the person hasn't had some good results. Okay, many people will want to buy a homeopathic kit when they become pregnant. They want to have some important homeopathic medicines on hand so they don't need to go to the pharmacy. In many countries, you have to go to the pharmacy to get homeopathic medicines. In the United States, it's both the pharmacy and the health food store. Some places is online. So these are the main remedies, or the most common, or some of the most common remedies that are needed during pregnancy. So you might just, if you only want to purchase a handful of homeopathic medicines, you might purchase these: Aesculus, Apis, Carba vegetabilis, Colchicum, Hamamelis, Ipecac, Pulsatilla, and Sepia. These are common medicines. At the National Center for Homeopathy Conference, at the JHC conference, I think all of, or most of the homeopathic manufacturers will be selling these remedies. Many of them are willing to make kits. So you could visit them in their virtual booth if you sign up for the conference online, or you can go to their exhibition table if you're in person at the conference in San Antonio. Okay, so let's dive in. Finally, we'll talk about morning sickness. So we're going to review these 3 homeopathic medicines first. These are the main homeopathic medicines that are used for morning sickness during pregnancy. And I'm going to highlight the aspect of those medicines that you should call forth for this medicine. So colchicum, there's an intolerance to the smell of cooking, a disgust at the mere thought of eating, and when and if the woman vomits, there's extreme vomiting. So the thing that I want to highlight here is the intolerance to even the smell of cooking. That's what makes colchicum stand out. So if a woman says, I don't feel like eating and I've been throwing up some, that's not going to be enough for you to want to select colchicum. But if the woman then says to you, I can't stand the smell of cooking, even if I'm upstairs and my husband is downstairs or my partner is downstairs and they cook the slightest thing, I could smell it, and then I don't want to eat for the rest of the day. Anyway, Ipecac has completely different. It's also the same thing for morning sickness. But the big thing with this medicine is that there's this constant nausea and no relief at all when the woman vomits. So usually it's more typical that when you're nauseous and you vomit, you at least have momentary relief. With Ipecac, there's none. There's also a dislike of all food and a desire for open air is a little more common with women who benefit from Ipecac. Sepia, one of the main homeopathic medicines for all sorts of female issues, especially issues related to the hormones. There's this empty feeling in the stomach. And even with that empty feeling, eating doesn't help it. So there's this empty feeling in the stomach, the woman has something to eat, and they don't feel any better. Another strong indication for the homeopathic medicine sepia is aversion to the partner. And it's not even necessarily just sexual advances of the partner. It's just go away, stay away from me. I want to be alone. Isn't there a moment where I can have time for just myself? I want to just go for a walk or a run or get some exercise. So with sepia, there are 3 very peculiar indications. This emptiness in the stomach, but eating doesn't help, an aversion to the partner, and a desire for exercise. I want to mention here also that eating small meals with bland foods and ginger tea might be very helpful. And some women, when they're pregnant, are very sensitive to herbs. So just be careful with them. So remember at the beginning of this presentation, I said that I wanted to get into more of the details of homeopathic medicines for pregnancy. And right here and now, I wanted to mention 2 remedies that aren't as common for the pregnancy period, but they're good backup remedies. And that is Ignatia, which is very often a homeopathic medicine that's given to very hypersensitive women who get very upset very easily. They feel better when they're distracted. That's why they love to travel. They're not thinking of what's going on as much. but they tend to, if they have morning sickness, they have these painful areas. There's like knots in the stomach. And there's a paradoxical nausea with Ignatia, which is a remedy that oftentimes has these paradoxical symptoms. And the paradoxical symptom related to the morning sickness is that the women feel nauseous, but they actually feel better when they eat. So that's the remedy Ignatia. Another good backup medicine is tobacco, an excellent homeopathic medicine called for when there's morning sickness associated with pallor. The person turns a ghostly or a sickly white or almost grayish color. They might feel heart palpitations, dizzy. And so the remedy tobacco, a very common remedy for seasickness, actually. So it's that extreme nauseousness, cold sweats, the patient turns very pale color. So here you have some 3 very common remedies and then 2 very helpful backup medicines. Okay, so let's talk about heartburn and indigestion. We have the remedy pulsatilla, a remedy that is a very common homeopathic medicine for women, especially women who feel indigestion when they eat fats or rich foods. Ice cream and pork are 2 real common culprits. They lead to bloating and nauseousness. Carbovegetabilis is a second homeopathic medicine, often associated with that heartburn and indigestion. And carbovegetabilis is associated with bloating and indigestion with belching. And the belching actually feels good. So very frequently, women who benefit from carbovegetabilis will want to drink water with gas or sparkling water or carbonated beverages so that it initiates the belching and that provides relief. Remember, during the pregnancy period, if you reduce spicy and fatty foods, reduce fluids at mealtime, and sleep with the head and chest elevated, that can help decrease heartburn and indigestion. Some backup remedies that I'd like to just bring up here now as well is argentum nitricum, a more common remedy for indigestion, not quite as common during the pregnancy period, but you see the need for argentum nitricum in women who are anxious or phobic. They're always in a hurry and they have these digestive disorders. Nux vomica is more common in women that are impatient, irritable, quick-tempered, who then get the heartburn and indigestion. This is the person who says to me, I don't care how busy you are, I want you to see me today. So that's nux vomica. And then there's the homeopathic lycopodium. Any master homeopaths know that lycopodium is a very common remedy for lots of different digestive issues. And the presentation is either one extreme or the other. The person either presents with low confidence, a lot of fears, or they're kind of puff up their chest and boasting. They seem like they're full of themselves, which is really just a facade. They're trying to hide their fearful nature, but they might also have bloating. So that's another backup remedy to consider. We're also a bit later on in this presentation going to get into the cell salts that can help with a lot of these conditions. And just, you might want to put it in your notes that natrum phosphoricum is a homeopathic cell salt that can help with heartburn and indigestion. I'll get to that in more detail later. Okay, just bear with me. I'm going to need to get a drink of water. Okay, hemorrhoids and varicose veins, 2 very common complaints during pregnancy. One homeopathic medicine that is very useful, especially for hemorrhoids, is Aeschylus. And this is especially helpful for external hemorrhoids. So external hemorrhoids are hemorrhoids that are outside the rectum, that when you wipe yourself, or if you feel in your by your buttocks area, you'll feel actually the hemorrhoids themselves. And the sensation that is caused by these hemorrhoids is the rectum actually feels full of sticks with pain shooting up the back. And if a woman reports this to you, then you can, with confidence, recommend Aeschylus. For a woman who has bleeding hemorrhoids, more commonly she'll find benefit from Hamamelis. And Hamamelis is also a homeopathic medicine that's very helpful for varicose veins. And I could speak from experience. When I was pregnant 40 years ago, Hamamelis became my godsend. It helps varicose veins in the legs. So weak veins in general, be they the cause of hemorrhoids or varicose veins. When we discuss the cell salts, we'll talk about Calcarea florica being a cell salt that reduces varicose veins, hemorrhoids, and actually is even helpful in reducing stretch marks. So we'll get into more detail about Calcarea florica. There's a slide later on. For backup homeopathic medicines, if Aeschylus and Hamamelis don't seem to cover the symptoms that you're observing or hearing, Nux vomica is an excellent homeopathic medicine for internal hemorrhoids where the person reports ongoing constipation, overindulgence. You won't hear overindulgence with alcohol, but you might hear overindulgence in terms of food. And oftentimes, Nux vomica can help bring that back into balance. Also, a backup remedy for hemorrhoids and varicose veins is sepia. As I said, a very, very common remedy for lots of different issues of pregnancy. So sepia is very good if someone reports, say, varicose veins, and they say that there's a heaviness in their pelvis region. That's very common with sepia. Muriatic acid is an excellent homeopathic medicine when there's tremendously painful hemorrhoids. So those three homeopathic medicines can really truly act as valuable backups. Remember, gentle exercise enhances digestion. Eating amount of fiber in your diet will help with the stool quality. Please, any woman, if you are yourself pregnant or you know of a woman who's pregnant, straining in the stool can truly lead to these varicose vein issues, hemorrhoids. Sitting in a sitz bath can be helpful. And support hose, although it's not the trendiest thing in the world, it can truly help, as can elevating legs. Anybody with varicose veins should be encouraged to elevate their legs whenever they go to sit down. Okay, so we still have some time, so we can keep moving on to another issue. And fluid retention and swollen ankles can be very, very common during pregnancy. The remedy Apis. Remember, Apis comes from the honeybee. So remember the sting of the honeybee causes swelling and that stinging feeling. So when there's swelling in the extremities, extreme swelling, and the limbs feel warm and feel better from cold applications, we go for the remedy Apis. And we select the remedy Pulsatilla when there's an overall puffiness with a feeling of being faint in a stuffy room. Anyone who can benefit from Pulsatilla will report that they just feel so much better in the open air when they have gentle exercise. If they're riding in the car, they certainly will want either the air conditioning on or the windows down. That fresh air makes them feel so much better. And I just want to encourage anybody who has fluid retention to make sure you get a medical workup, because you want to rule out anything that could be, very significant or an emergent condition. And remember, just as with varicose veins, it's gentle exercise is important, as is raising the legs when sitting. So that's very important. For fluid retention, I'm just going to mention another cell salt. That's Natrium muriaticum. And Natrium muriaticum, the cell salt, it always helps with water balance. And so it can lessen swollen hands and swollen ankles as well. So here's that slide I keep talking about. And I want to thank Miranda Castro. A lot of the information right here comes from her book, Birth and Your Baby's First Year. I want to encourage anyone that wants to learn more about homeopathic medicines for pregnancy and the baby's first year, that Miranda has some excellent books. So you can purchase them for more information, more detailed information. So as the slide says, a healthy diet is the best way to get minerals that you need during pregnancy. But sometimes it just falls short. And cell salts can help balance minerals in both the baby and the mother and relieve and prevent symptoms during pregnancy. So, of course, as I said at the beginning of the lecture, if you need more information, please see a trained homeopathic physician. I know in the States, when cell salts are sold, the dosing is written right on the bottle. So you can follow the instructions on the bottle. And if you can see, these numbers don't go in order. These numbers I'm using to recommend them. I know the most common manufacturer of cell salts, at least in the US, is Highlands, and there are 12 cell salts. I'm only discussing 7 right here, but they label their cell salts by the name of the cell salt, like Calcarea fluorica, but they also put a number on the bottle, and these numbers 1, 2, 4, 6, etc. Those are the numbers that are on the Highlands bottles, just so that if any of these sound like something that's important for you to purchase, then you can go out and get them. So let's just review them here. I'll take a sip of water. Okay, so the first is Calcarea fluorica, and I brought it up before when we were talking about varicose veins and hemorrhoids. I also mentioned that it can help with stretch marks, and it may prevent adhesions after a cesarean. So if you have a planned cesarean, then you can certainly go and purchase Calcarea fluorica if you think you need that. The homeopathic medicine Calcarea phosphorica is helpful for leg cramps, and you're going to see, I'll also mention it later on with number 8, which is Magnesia phosphorica, and it also helps with pain in the pelvic girdle. Ferrum phos is the homeopathic medicine that helps with improving absorption of iron, very helpful for anyone with anemia. Kali phosphoricum is helpful for nervous exhaustion, especially when associated with anemia, nervous headaches, and insomnia. Number 8 is Magnesia phosphorica, also known as homeopathic aspirin, because it helps reduce pain, but it helps reduce those muscle cramps and sciatic pain as well. Natrium muriaticum, we look at that more for water balance, especially if there's swelling in the hands, feet, and ankles. And last but not least, Natrium phosphoricum, which is a homeopathic medicine that will neutralize acids and help relieve heartburn and acid indigestion. For anyone who is new to homeopathy, I just have a quick slide on dosing. You want to pick the homeopathic medicine that best matches the symptoms. For acute symptoms, you're going to take the 30C potency up to 4 times a day. For chronic symptoms, take the 30C potency twice a day for up to 2 weeks to see if there's a positive response. Remember, with homeopathic medicines, we stop taking the remedy when we notice improvement, yet we start taking the remedy if we had nice improvement and symptoms return. If you don't see any improvement, please clarify the symptoms. Remember, I told you to take notes. So go back to the person, clarify the symptoms to make sure you observed correctly or you focused on the right issues, and find a better match if that's indicated. And of course, as always, if you can't find a good match, or if you're not able to help the person, please find a professional homeopath. The National Center for Homeopathy website, homeopathycenter.org, has a page that's called Find a Homeopath Directory, and you'll find homeopaths, at least in the US, in all 50 states. So you can help anyone in the US that you can. There are a lot of practitioners who will meet over Zoom if you're an international person who's looking for help. So just know that help is at your fingertips if you need it. So let's just kind of review a little bit. And I'm going to present some scenarios. I'm going to give everybody a chance to try to be a sleuth and see which homeopathic medicine is indicated. So here's the first one. Which remedy am I? I'm valuable to women with weak veins. This homeopathic medicine can reduce hemorrhoids and improve varicose veins so that standing in pregnancy is less painful. I'll just give you a couple seconds. Go back over your notes, think a little bit. And this is the medicine Hamamelis. Excellent homeopathic medicine for weak veins with bleeding hemorrhoids, also for varicose veins in the legs. Okay, let's move on. Number 2. Which remedy am I? When a pregnant woman cannot bear even the smell of cooking, I'm going to underline that, the smell of cooking, and when the thought of eating brings extreme nausea, this homeopathic medicine may provide relief. So you can go back over your notes, look for the homeopathic medicines for morning sickness, and remember to focus on the homeopathic medicine that's made worse, the individual is made worse from the smell of cooking. And that's our dear plant friend, colchicum. Intolerance to the smell of cooking and disgust at just the thought of eating with extreme vomiting. I think we have one more here. So if your pregnancy is accompanied by heartburn, bloating, and indigestion, and there is a great desire for sparkling water, then think of this homeopathic medicine to restore balance. So go back to the heartburn and indigestion medicines. And remember, you're going to focus on the medicine that's most helpful for people who feel better after belching, and therefore they desire sparkling water or carbonated beverages, and that's Carbo-Vegetabilis. For bloating and indigestion with belching, heartburn, a desire for carbonated drinks, this can be very helpful. So before I close, I want to make sure that I can suggest these references. James Balch, Mark Stengler, and Robin Young Balch have written a wonderful compendium of prescription for natural cures. The book does not focus just on homeopathy. So there's suggestions for foods, there's suggestions for supplements, aromatherapy, some Ayurvedic suggestions. So it's an excellent book for multiple modalities, including many issues of pregnancy and including homeopathy. Roger Morrison's Desktop Companion to Physical Pathology is one of my favorite texts. I recommend it to any physician. It's an excellent book, talks about the different homeopathic medicines that are most common for a long list of ailments, and the really, really good description of the indications for each homeopathic medicine. Judith Reichenberg-Ullman has written a lot of books for women and on parenting as well. So Whole Woman Homeopathy is another excellent source. I would like to thank all the homeopathic laboratories that are appearing in the National Center for Homeopathy Conference, the homeopathic manufacturers that are partners with the National Center for Homeopathy. I want to thank them for offering kits, single remedies, and cell salts. They are the people that make practicing homeopathy possible in the US and for many people around the world. So I thank them for partnering with us and being there for us. If anybody has any questions, please, you can learn more at the Homeopathy Conference. Remember, it's March 24th through 26th, which is just a few weeks away. If you cannot travel to Texas, then please join us virtually. If you become a member of the National Center for Homeopathy, you have access to this and many, many other webinars. You can also see that if you join the National Center for Homeopathy, you get our magazine. You get access to Homeopathy House Call, which is an acute care and first aid app where you can enter in your symptoms, and it'll help you select the homeopathic medicine that's best for you. There's a remedy for that e-course that we're building up. The Homeopathy Help Network, if you join the National Center for Homeopathy, you get a free acute care consultation. And of course, you get discounts at many of the homeopathic manufacturers, and you will get discounts to all of our curriculums that we establish. Just want to thank everyone who's already been a member of the National Center for Homeopathy. I know Dr. Kavitha has been a wonderful partner, and I want to thank her for helping us to spread the word throughout the world. A peek at some of our resources, Happy Healthy Pregnancy brochure is a lot of information on pregnancy that's available through the National Center for Homeopathy. If you become a member, the Cell Salt Pregnancy Chart and Homeopathy Today Homeopathy Today magazine. For more information, feel free to contact me directly, Lauri at drlaurigrossman.com, or to go to the National Center for Homeopathy's website. And Dr. Kavitha, I thank you for this opportunity. I thank your team for being a fabulous support. And I wish all the other speakers this morning a very joyful day. And I hope they enjoy teaching today. Unfortunately, I have to get off the call because I have a meeting for the conference, but I thank you all for being wonderful partners and excellent participants.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lauri, for this enlightening session. So do you mind taking any question, or you do not have time, right?
I have a couple minutes. If you want to give me a few questions, I'm more than happy.
Maybe one question if we do not have anything right now in the chat, that is fine.
Okay.
And Dr. Sweta, you are there, right? Hello, Dr. Sweta? I think she is muted. And so it is really great session, Dr. Lauri, with right from all the questions which pregnant women has, from the common ailments and the mothers who have delivered. So thank you so much for sharing about the homeopathic remedies and tissue salts. So we would like to take privilege to honor your gracious presence and your precious time in sharing your knowledge today with our study group with our caste certificate. Please kindly accept. And Dr. Sweta is here. I think she is going to share. One second. I don't know, something she got dropped off, or yes, looks like there is some internet. But thank you so much. We will send it through email, Dr. Lauri.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, everyone. I really do appreciate this community. You're one of the most caring, generous communities. And thank you so much for the donations that you make to the poor communities in India. That moves me deeply.
And I'm very proud to be lifetime member of NCH. And we have made small videos, testimonials on NCH and JHC, which we would reshare. Thank you so much, Dr. Lauri. And see you again and again at the conference.
Thank you. Beautiful. I look forward to it. I really do. If anyone on this call comes to the conference, please look for me to say hello. I would love to greet you in person.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lauri. Now we will welcome our second speaker, Dr. Renuka. So just we'll take 1 minute break, okay? Because we had this internet some disconnect and she has to leave. So thank you so much once again, Dr. Lauri, for having with us today. And today we have many of our KHA volunteers: Dr. Pooja Naik, Dr. Mamata Kumar, Dr. Richa Panwar, Dr. Poonam Shablani, and many more KHA volunteers have joined us today. And Dr. Renuka, we would like to announce the upcoming events. Okay. So on April 9th, 2023, we have Dr. Dinesh Chauhan, world-renowned homeopath, who speaks about integrative holistic approach in wisdom age. And Karen Island about importance of Echinum. And this would be at 8:30 p.m. India time and 11 a.m. Eastern. So Dr. Dinesh Chauhan's case witnessing process, the right brain approach, is they have a course going on that will be in March. So for whoever is interested, they can visit his website, casewitnessing.com. And we have many more renowned homeopaths lined up for our KHA webinars. So stay tuned. And once again, I thank KHA Homeopathy Study Group team for the continuous selfless support and all the KHA participants for their undivided attention and inspiration. So Dr. Sweta and once again, Dr. Renuka, thank you. And with your permission, we will end this session. And Dr. Sweta, would you like to go ahead, please?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to thank you and good night to everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We are very thankful to our honorable, respectable speakers for such an informative sessions at our KHA platform. And heartfelt thanks to all the viewers and followers of KHA Homeopathy Study Group for joining us today. For the future webinars info, you can follow our social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn with the name KHA Homeopathy Study Group. If you missed any of the webinar, you can subscribe and follow and check out all the webinar recordings at our YouTube channel with the name Kavita Kukunur. Don't forget to fill the jot form to receive your certificate. You will get it within 10 days after the webinar. For any other query, you can reach us at kstudygroup@gmail.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sweta.
Thanks to all.
Thank you.
Good night.